So with the trade deadline vastly approaching and the Washington Commanders in the current state that they're in right now, there has been rumors and reports that they could be sellers. Even deeper than that, Marshon Lattimore could be the one that's on the move. Let's talk about how I think that would be a mistake.
Shout out to Juan Gotti Talking Sports. You know what it is.
Shout out Wall Gotti Talking Sports.
The way that we live is not for everybody.
Nah, that ain't it, y'all.
How do you think the rest of Jaden Daniels' career is going to go? If we're, 6, 7 games into Jaden Daniels' career, and he's already milking injuries? Like,
Niggas stop saying my name, you dick riding bastard. I love the way she move it, shake it on me. When she cry for him, and Shawty is the winner. You can tell that Shawty love again now, she's confident.
Before we get any further into today's video, I want to give a huge shout out to today's sponsor, SeatGeek. If you're trying to go to a game, concert, or any live event, SeatGeek is the place to go. I actually got my tickets for week 1 against the New York Giants using SeatGeek, and honestly, I use it for all my event purchases. What I love about SeatGeek is how simple it is to find the best deals. They rate every seat on a scale from green to red. Green means you're getting a great deal, red means it's a little overpriced. That way you know you're buying with confidence and getting your money's worth. Plus, they even offer protection ticket plans so you don't have to worry about your tickets getting lost or stolen. And the best part about it all is they're hooking y'all up with the code. Use Juan Gotti at checkout and you'll get 10% off your first purchase. Again, use code Juan Gotti at checkout to get 10% off your first purchase. So, what's up, y'all? The trade deadline is November 4th, and right now the Washington Commanders currently sit at 3-5, and I don't know if they're in any shape to be buying. If you ask me based off of injuries, you're damn right. But based off of the position that we're currently in and not really knowing where this season is headed and draft capital that we've already given up in the past, would it be smart for Washington to trade for anything? The other side to that is Washington being 3-5, and maybe this season isn't growing the way that we expected and could be falling off the rails. Could they be looking to offload some pieces at the deadline? You got to ask yourself that. This game on Sunday just got a whole lot more important, as if it already wasn't, if you ask me. Because this game was important for a multitude of reasons. One, because this seems like the legit last chance for the Washington Commanders to turn their season around. But also for the matter of, where is this season going to go? If Washington gets a victory on Sunday Night Football against the Seahawks, that goes to show you that, okay, we can make a season out of this thing. If they lose to Seattle on Sunday Night Football, they're 3-6. They got Detroit coming up, and that kind of just screams, oh, your season is doomed. And at that point, then you should look to move off pieces from your team. But here's the issue. You play Seattle this Sunday. You play Detroit November 9th. By that game, Detroit, the trade deadline is through. So you kind of have to make your decision after Sunday night, and that's why that game is that important, if you ask me, for a multitude of reasons. Because if you're 3-6, and regardless of if you think you're dead or not, which I think theoretically you are, you should probably look to offload some pieces, especially some guys that could give you some value, especially some guys that could help you rebuild this team in terms of trade and stuff like that, getting picks back and whatnot. But if you're 4-5, that changes a whole lot of things. So much so that I say Marshon Lattimore should be off limits. Especially if you plan on making this thing a season. The only reason I say you should entertain moving Marshon Lattimore is if your season's cooked and teams are showing true interest in Lattimore. Now, I know that answer may become a little shock to some of you all, because Marshon Lattimore has not played well through his first, year and a half as a Washington Commander. Lot of inconsistencies, a lot of, I say, age issues, confidence issues, poor scheme, and poor usage by the defensive coordinator. has been a big reason as to why Lattimore has not been good. And also, again, he is at fault as well. But think about it like this. It can be worse than Marshon Lattimore. So if you trade Marshon Lattimore, who else are you going to be able to have to step up in place of Marshon Lattimore? You're basically back at square one from last year, where it was Mikey, and it was Benjamin St. Juice, and then it was Marshon Lattimore or somebody, of that nature, or it was Mikey, Marshon Lattimore, and Noah Igbenogany. Now you're back at that point again, right? You're back at Noah, Mikey, and Trey now. If you're ready to go down that road, maybe entertain it, but you're not even giving Noah Igbenogany any kind of opportunities to play now. So that goes to show you how they feel about him. I think he's the one that you probably offload because you're not using him. Jonathan Jones is especially going to be coming back here shortly. So that opens up the room for our depth in Jonathan Jones to kind of give us a reason to feel comfortable or feel fine trading Noah Igbenogany. But when it comes to Marshon, I don't think you do. I think it'll be a huge mistake, because especially if you want to make a late run at this thing, especially if you get a victory on Sunday and you seem to be turning around your season, or at least this is step one of that, you need Marshon Lattimore. I get it, y'all. He has not been as advertised, right? He hasn't been good. I'm not telling you he has. What I am telling you is you can do a lot more worse than Marshon Lattimore. If you don't have Marshon Lattimore out there, can you imagine how bad it's going to be? Who, in fact, is actually going to give up some quality trade value for a guy that recently got traded for last year and clearly see that he isn't the same? You know what I mean? So, again, the only way I personally entertain it is if our season is cooked, but even still, I wouldn't. I would just ride it out with him, because you're not guaranteed to bring him back next year. You can get out of his contract after this season's over, and you already invested trade picks and whatnot and picks to get him here. See, I feel like you might as well just ride the ship out with him. Again, unless it gets to a point where you can clearly tell the season's done, and you may be like, okay, the trade deadline is the 4th, and we just lost to Seattle, so we're 3-6, and let's see if we can try to send them to a team that's contending or seem to be in contention. Like, again, the only name I heard was the Bears, and I think the Bears are fool's gold. Not me hating, not me trying to discredit their success thus far, but I think they're fool's gold. I think they're going to come back to life here shortly, and they're going to be a team that falls off in the NFC playoff run. So, again, me personally, I would keep Sean. I want to say he can build off of what he did on Monday night. Because, like, let's be honest, Monday night was the best game that he's played as a Commander, if you ask me. Like, that actually he got targeted in. I know there's games like the Saints, and there's some other games, like, where he didn't get targeted. Maybe that Giants game week 1, you can say was his best game. But he actually got a turnover on Monday Night Football. He actually got targeted and denied a few passes. He actually had an opportunity to recover a fumble and didn't. So I really just want to see, him build some consistency possibly. And it's going to be tough. It's Jackson Smith and the Jigba's coming into town. So it is going to be a little bit challenging. I think Cooper Kupp, if healthy, is still able to get, get open and kind of route him up a little bit if he does find himself in those positions. Torrey Horton Jr. is another name to watch as well. He's a pretty good rookie, especially as a punt returner. So it can be interesting, but I think you ride out with Sean, man. I think trading him would be a massive, mistake, because, like, I just can't imagine turning the season around and Marshon not being a big reason as to why, because defensively he's been a big reason as to why we haven't been good. Has he been the only reason? No. But he's been a big reason as to why we haven't been good defensively. So if he's the starter and he's been playing bad and they refuse to take him off the field, like, he hasn't been that bad to where I feel like he needs to be benched, but, like, we have nobody else to go to anymore. So can you just imagine if we was to do that? Who would we go to? So that's reason in itself. Then it's like you want to turn the season around. You want him to be a part of this. You already invested so much in him to get him here, and I don't know if any team is willing to give you anything back for him. Like, I mean, I get we don't have that many draft picks this upcoming year. I get you would love to recollect some of those draft picks that you may have lost, but I just don't see a team interested in trading for him and giving him some type of compensation that we could actually use. Like, what would you guys be willing to give up or accept, I should say, for Marshon Lattimore? Because we got we gave about a 3rd round pick for him, if I can remember correctly. We gave a 3rd round pick for him. But that being said, we're not getting a 3rd round pick for him. Like, we're not. So maybe a 5th, maybe a 6th, right? But we have projectedly a 1st round pick, 3rd, a 5th, 6th, and a 6th and a 7th. That's projected right now. Of course, once the season's over and be concluded, then we'll see where we fall. But we don't have any 2nd round pick. We have just 1 3rd round pick, so 1 mid-round pick, and then we don't pick until day 3, which is, it's trash, if we're being honest with you. Again, I'm not upset with Adam Peters for trying to push all the chips towards the table, but now looking how it kind of fell on his face, and again, not blaming him for, but kind of looking how it hasn't went the way we wanted it to, it's like, damn, had we not did so-and-so, we probably would have a 2nd round, we probably would have a 3rd round pick. But again, I'm not regretting going out and getting a Deebo Samuel. I'm not regretting going out and getting Marshon Lattimore, because you got to take into perspective of where we were during the season that we got Marshon Lattimore last year. We were one of the best teams in the NFC. We clearly saw that cornerback was a weak point of our roster, and we realized, okay, go out and get a cornerback that's available, and he could probably help us push us over the top. It's just unfortunate that it didn't happen at this point. But again, 9 games left. I think he can turn it around. Maybe this can be a confidence booster for Marshon, because again, it's easy to go out there and, based off of the name that you have built for yourself, it's easy for someone to still say, oh, that's Marshon Lattimore from old, I'm not going to test him. It's easy for that to be out. But for a quarterback to actually test you and you actually make him pay, and you've been hearing from the media, the fans, how disappointed they have been in you and how poor you have been playing, that can serve as some type of, hey, I'm still that dude. Again, it's easy to run away or like hide because they're not testing you, but actually testing you and you making them pay for it. Like, come on, Sean. You know, so that's why I'm personally against trading him, because it just doesn't make sense for me. We need him. We don't have anybody behind him if we trade him. You invested too much into him. We're only 3-5, and I know I was in my emotional bag, and I said the season was over, which at that time it did feel as such because all the injuries and the upcoming schedule. But I feel damn good about this game. Like, even though we don't have Terry, like, I feel confident. As long as we got 5, you know, I feel like we got a shot any chance, bro. So I feel like this can serve as a turning point for our season, and we're just gonna take it 1 game at a time. But again, you gotta think, does the potential trading them now, does that weigh out us just keeping them and riding out? Because again, we're getting out of his contract after this year, even if we don't like him, we don't want him. We just got his contract this year, so I mean after this season. So it kind of just, in my opinion, it could serve as a double-edged sword, because it's like, okay, should we just let him go after this year and wipe our hands clean and just chalk up, okay, we made a investment, we traded a pick and it just didn't work? Do you chalk it up to that, or do you say, you know what, before we just allow him to walk in free agency or release him, do we try to get a pick for him? But again, the state of our season, it's not technically over. Now, after Sunday, we can probably revisit this conversation if we did lose. If we did lose, then maybe you entertain the thought of trading Marshon Lattimore. But I think we're turning this season around. I do, as long as we stay healthy. So I would keep Sean at this point. And something tells me he's just fit. He's getting it together. And it's just a shocker. He's a press man corner. And they finally allowed him to really play true press man. And he was able to get an interception. He was able to be the Marshon Lattimore of old somewhat. So for me, I think it would be a mistake. What says you? Leave it down below in the comment section. As always, me boy Juan Gotti. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe to the channel. We're on the road to 12,000 subscribers. We're going to appreciate if you reach that goal as soon as possible. Thank you so much. Y'all have a blessed one. Stay safe. Be easy out there. Peace.
Never gave a damn. Ballin' like I'm Deshaun, throw the bomb, G. That's IG, my jersey never seen a line.